Sometimes when you see me go off, a lot of times people think that me going off while I'm live means that something glitched on my phone, but no. I learned about this feature, which is probably annoying to y'all, but sometimes it's helpful to me, where I can pause the live. And the reason why I say sometimes it's helpful to me, like let's say I started a live and then I was expecting a very important call or something, and I was waiting and waiting for the call, and then it doesn't come in, and then all of a sudden, when I decide to go live, it's like boom, the call comes in. If I know that this call is just a quicker call, then I'm like, okay, I can take this call for 5 minutes and jump back on the live, because the live, I still have a priority to do the live. I just had to take the call. Or if, like what happened just now, I had to tap to pay for something, and I'm using this same phone for the tap. So I have to get off temporarily to be able to use my phone for that, and then when I'm done, I hop back on. But the thing that happens, the unfortunate side effect, is that sometimes it glitches. So basically, I jump off and then I jump back on, and the live is still on, but now I can't see your comments. So that's the reason why I reset it, because I learned that from being at the Big Brother premiere party and talking to y'all for 35 minutes straight with no comments, thinking that just nobody. I was like, why is nobody talking? And it showed me that there was 8, 9, 10 people online, but nobody was talking. And I'm like, that is very not typical for my lives, for nobody to be saying anything. And I talk for 35 minutes. So after that, I check and I can see whether it brought back the chat or not, because now I know what that looks like. So just now I realized that the chat wasn't there, so that's why I turned it off and turned it back on, because honestly, the chat is everything to me now. When I used to come on here early in my early days when I first started doing YouTube lives, I didn't really care about the chat. The chat was just, I was like, I'm coming here with all my information, with all my notes, and I just want to get through my notes. And then when I started to realize that, people don't care about my notes. I'm not trying to say my notes don't matter or anything like that, but I'm just trying to say, if you compare me to a Rob Has a Podcast or a Sharon Tharp or a Jolene, those kind of pages are very note heavy and detail oriented. So there's plenty of those pages. I mean, if I wanted to be one of those people, I probably could. But at the same time, I have so much of a respect for what they do, because it takes so much time. And I don't think that I would have the passion enough to dedicate the time that it takes to be a competitor to one of those stations. It takes a lot to do that. And that's not to say anyone could do it, but I could do it. And that's just the reality. When I first started, my page functioned more like one of those pages at the beginning. I was up all night on those feeds. I had hella notes, and then I'd wake up in the morning and pre-record a very detailed oriented video about who spoke to who, what they said, then what room they switched over to, and then comparing notes of what conversation they had with this one, that one. And I was doing that every single morning, 7 days a week, in addition to getting on in the evenings and the afternoons. People used to be like, how are you on so freaking much? And I was balancing a full-time job on top of that. So it's not something I couldn't do, but it's something that I would have to deep dive so heavy to be doing that. So I appreciate the fact that people like my lane of just coming on here and having a conversation with y'all. Sometimes I have some details, sometimes y'all fill me in on some of the details. It works best that way for me, because it doesn't require so much bandwidth. Me sitting on here and speaking, I can do that all day. It's what I do all day anyways. It's what I do all day at work. it's not what I do all day in life, because when I'm not on here, I'm not really socializing like a normal human being when I get off here. When I get off here, if I'm not at work and I'm not on here, good luck finding me. That's kind of the way my life operates. Tonight, by the way, we're having another Sunday episode of Big Brother. I'm going to be on here at the end of the episode, recapping, reviewing, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully I catch a little bit of feeds today. But yeah, what I was saying on the last one before I got off that live due to the glitch was that I was just saying that my dad had this annoying saying. One is two. What almost is the one that all you guys know about, because I've been saying that for so long. But the other one was when something really bad happened or something that didn't go your way. At the end of it, when everything is resolved, he would be like, any lessons learned? With this big smile on his face. And I'm like, why are you smiling for? I mean, this is just a horrible experience, and I'm not trying to think about the lessons that I got from it. I just want to sulk. But he did have a point, because in every hardship that you face, there is a lesson at the end of it. Whether you are emotionally ready to think about that lesson or not, it still exists, and when you find a lesson that you learned, it means that you cannot experience the same thing twice and react the same way. I'll take that back. You can have the exact same reaction to two similar things happening to you, but it means that you didn't learn the lesson. If you seek the lesson out of the hardship, it means that if you face it again, you're going to have a different mindset, and therefore it's going to go differently and presumably better. Hi, Milfman. And, that's like this thing that I lost here. If he was standing here and telling me, like, in a safe spot, and, maybe left myself a note of where I put it, so that when the time came for me to need that thing, I would be able to check my note and say, okay, I put this in such and such a spot. Let me go look. There it is. And then I move on from there. And I have it, and I don't spend 4 hours on a Sunday morning looking all over the place like a chicken with its head cut off. So that's a lesson that I would learn from that. Aside from that, it's been a peaceful weekend. I haven't been doing that badly. I was thinking about it this morning, how lately I've been sulking a little bit, but when I really think about my life, and I think about where I am now, and I think about where I have been, I'm like, even just this year, if you go back to January and February, I was going through one of the worst time periods of my entire life. And seeing that there was no way out. I thought there was no way out. But I just was like, keep showing up. I said this in one of my groups to somebody. I was like, keep showing up and keep showing up. Some people who claim to be optimists, or maybe this works for them, they just act like when they're going through a tough time, just pretend like I'm not going through that tough time, and the problem will kind of self-resolve. If I'm like, a problem is only a problem if I give it attention. To some degree, you could say that a problem is only a problem if you give it the attention, right? To some degree. But there are some problems that are legitimate problems no matter whether you give them attention or not. To me, it's more of what type of attention Are you given those problems, and are you solution focused? So let's say my problem a couple of weeks ago was that I had to get my new inspection for my car. And, for those who are in states where they have to get state inspections once a year, they check your car with the machine to make sure that everything's in order. They check everything. They check your tires. They check your brakes. They check everything, right? So a day or two before I was going to get my inspection, one of my tires went flat. One of my tires popped, actually, and needed to be changed. And the problem was that my other 3 tires at various times in the year also had to be changed, and I changed all 4 of them with used tires because I didn't have the money at the time to buy 4 brand new tires. And this is the last thing I'm going to say. And so I got to the point where I was a couple days before the inspection was due, and I needed 4 brand new tires, and then I needed brake pads and an alignment and stuff, and basically the total was over $1,000. What's the solution to that? Do it earlier, whatever. Okay, so here's the solution. Here's the lesson that I could have learned from that. When I know that my car inspection is probably, let's say, 3 months before it's due, I can start checking through and being like, what all do I need? Okay, I need this, I need these 4 new tires, I need this and this. And then I could have started breaking it down and getting those parts that I need and whatever I needed a little bit at a time. So, okay, this is going to cost me $200, so I set aside $200 on this paycheck, and then I take care of this part. These tires are going to cost me this much money, so then I set aside the money for the tires. I maybe save for a couple of weeks, a few paychecks, this much, and this much, and then I get the tires done. And then I need this done, I need that done, and then when the inspection comes, I'm not like, now I have to find that money, even if I don't really have it to spend, which has happened to me once or twice. So anything that you experience, good, bad, otherwise, take the lesson from it. If it's good, you can still make it better. And if it's bad, there's a lot of ways that you can make it better. So you have a right to grow. That's all I got for now. I presume that the feeds are up. I'm not going to be watching it all day, but hopefully I can get an hour or 2 before the episode. Oh. Yeah, hopefully I can get an hour or 2 before the episode, and I'll have a little bit more to talk about than just the episode content, because I'm sure it's stuff that I've already seen it already. And I didn't say this earlier, but please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified when I drop some more great content. Thank you all, and enjoy your day.